Did you know that the concept of behavioral addictions is a new and a revolutionary concept in the Indian psychiatry? Hello everyone, my name is Shruti S and I'm here today to explain my thesis entitled Rethinking of Behavioral De-Addiction Center. Do you know that we are missing out on real life experiences caring for things we shouldn't be giving attention to? Here, mother interacting with her baby, right, is how it could look more today. Father playing with his kid, or maybe playing but maybe more on his phone. Mother reading to her baby, or a baby may be left alone with an iPad. Romantic couple in love looking into each other's eyes, or maybe not someone loved looking down at the phone instead. How about a family connected by board games, or connected but maybe through wireless network? This was just for you, so just let that sink in and we will continue. Addiction is a disease and we should treat it like one. Addiction is not about the pleasurable effects of substances, it's about the user's inability to connect in healthy ways with the other human beings. In other words, addiction is not a substance disorder, it's a social disorder. Behavioral addiction versus substance addiction. Are they same? Well, they might be. However, the World Health Organization has added behavioral addiction to their set of disorders recently, and studies show that these addictions are far worse than substance addiction and is a serious disorder of Generation Z. Behavioral addictions consist of 6 ingredients: compelling goals that are just beyond reach, irresistible and unpredictable positive feedback, a sense of incremental progress and improvement, tasks that become slowly more difficult over time, unresolved tensions that demand resolution, and strong social connections. Internet has become a part of our lives, and most importantly, we treat our cell phones as an extension of our body part. There is no dopamine rush stronger than that of the next notification. When more and more young kids and adults are falling into the trap of gaming addiction, is it imperative to ask why? Television has a numbing effect, and reaction to the body is likened to that of a tranquilizer. An addictive loss of control over consumption of engineered products could account for increasing obesity epidemic. Exercise can also have drug-like qualities. Overtraining syndrome implies that the body is in a state of stress. Love addiction is real and there are many forms: pathological love, dating, and sex addiction. If love compromises your quality of life, you may have a love addiction. There is a very thin line between gambling being fun and it becoming an addiction. We are surrounded by advertising that encourages spending, and we end up buying things we don't need. This is also known as compulsive buying disorder. This chart shows that all behavioral addictions are linked either directly or indirectly. Can too much of a good thing be bad for us? Of course, yes. And it's high time we recognize these addictions, and I've strived to achieve an environment using architecture which enables them to regain lost experiences. These are the statistics of the behavioral addictions of South India. There are also associated behavioral problems of ADHD, adjustment, sleep, obsessive conduct disorder, along with fears and phobias of agoraphobia, social phobia, and performance anxiety. I have shortlisted the types of rehabilitation therapies for the center based on proven results produced by these therapies under experienced doctors, psychiatrists, and psychologists. The therapies are as follows. Occupational therapy helps a person carry out daily life tasks, and I have done a chart based on the types of addictions that require OT along with the age groups who will be getting treatment. So OT requires space that enhances our 5 senses of touch, vision, hearing, taste, and smell. CBT involves relearning or improving of skills. This requires audio as well as visual treatment, and these spaces could be zoned together for effective treatment. Physical therapy involves activities and exercises to improve body sensations. Happens both indoor, outdoor, and combined space. Also includes hydrotherapy, which makes use of cool and hot water for treatment. Recreational therapy helps improve social and emotional well-being and is a requirement for all age groups. It will also include outdoor learning experience along with play and social spaces. Emotions are expressed by music or art therapy, and this requires space for audio and opening up themselves. Animals help people relax, and a mere vision of them along with trained elements helps in faster recovery. Group or family therapy is a requirement for all kinds of addictions, and these spaces are activity oriented. Speech and language therapy aims to cope up with the difficulties of voice, language, and talking. This again requires a combination of audiovisual space along with a space for the audiologist. Yoga therapy is often considered as a natural form of medicine, and this requires quiet and visually linked spaces with nature. Pharmacorehabilitation therapy uses drugs to restore physical health. Also includes pharmacy, where storage of such drugs should be away from direct sunlight. The list of projects are as follows. Restart Life Addiction Treatment Center, US. Restart serves emerging adults to cope up with the digital distractions. This case helped me to infer studies on space relationship, organization, area summary, treatments offered, as well as the user group. HSSU Early Childhood and Parenting Education Center at US. Every addiction starts with poor parenting and poor parenting knowledge. Hence, this gave me a detailed understanding of the need of the attention that has to be given to the kids by means of spatial relationship. Ratchet School, Thailand. This gives importance to the space that engage kids and parents. This mainly focuses on ideal learning environment where a learning space should resemble home than a typical classroom. Rehabilitation Center, Groot Clemendel at the Netherlands. This center takes care of the patients along with the family members. It has a 5-level plan, each of them focusing on recreation, clinic, accommodation. The center explores the therapeutic effects of nature through architecture as well as uses the power of windows to help patients recover faster. Shut Clinic, Bangalore is the first of its kind in India, helping in diagnosis and suggest therapy measures along with digital detox. This gave me a detailed understanding of the addiction space requirements for each and the spatial relationship in design. DPS Kindergarten School at Bangalore. This project experiments with a form of sustainability involving screening of sunshine with traditional terracotta jalis and natural ventilation along with lighting. Out of the 6 working projects, 3 of them are located right in the center of the city, and they find it difficult to reach people despite their location, and the rest 3 being far away from the city experiences good responses. So a detailed study of the site and its surroundings along with context play a very important role in reaching out to people as well as recovering the people approaching them. Centers located outside India have IP along with OP, but in India, since we are not completely aware, it is limited to OP. Now doctors along with psychiatrists are taking measures to increase their treatment to a larger scale. So the main elements are shortlisted to OP, IP program, kids care, parenting education and therapy spaces. The decided user group are categorized as kids, preteens, teenagers, young adults and the design program has been designed by taking into consideration of the owner and client along with major project elements which included intake or registration, administration, medical detox, living space, learning space and services. I worked out the quantitative analysis and the building program based on the space requirements along with keeping in mind the user group who will be treated for the addictions that was listed before. This zoning has been done based on the proximity of each spaces, the programs, and every program has been zoned such that it has an access to the therapy. As we can see, the red areas indicate the states having de-addiction centers at a clinic level. Also, most of the surveys and campaigns are done in North India while South India still remains untouched. So after shortlisting places that satisfies the requirement, I arrived at Kunnur, Tamil Nadu, which is untouched by pollution and touched by nature in every step. So the proposed site was chosen such that the environment itself helps in the natural healing. There are several different levels of view which are powerful and is one of the main reasons this area spoke so strongly to me. There is a beautiful view of the 3rd highest waterfalls in Nilgiris, Kateri Waterfalls, along with the channel. Site model was done with context and analysis which gave me a detailed understanding of the project in all possible aspects. Slope percentage and the suitability for the construction was studied. Since the northeast winds are the most prevailing winds at this site, roof shapes along with different orientation of the space was analyzed consciously. Design on the slope has its own advantage of having different viewpoints at different levels. The location of the site itself has its own advantage of cooling the air by the time it reaches the built space. It is true that behavioral addictions has no boundaries and it is a challenge to create spaces bounding them. The concern was to connect variable and versatile spaces, imposing the concepts of independent, dependent and controlled spaces, and hence the name bounding the unbound with levels and vistas. My design approach mainly concentrated on small and intimate spaces that are easily understood, opportunities for smaller gatherings of people and space, incorporate tactile sensory elements in design, create stabilization and harmony, maintain private spaces for residents that aren't isolating, safety and security, patience, reflection and personalization. Site zoning was started by proposing the entry and exit, which was decided based on the road approaching the site. According to the road section, this location depicts minimal variation in the levels, making it a suitable landing and hence the entry. Also, this point gives a complete front view of the center as one enters. So this is the highest point, and this being the lowest point, the slope of the site is in this direction. The exits were decided based on the functions as well as services. This has both entry and exit for the services, and the next one is for the users including staff, visitors and OP. So as one enters, they are welcomed by a double height space which then splits into OP and kids. From this central space, access has been provided to all therapies as well as IP programs. So in case of an OP patient visiting, he or she will be welcomed through the central space, and when returning to the parking lot, they will also be able to visit the restaurant or the dining. In case of IP, they can have direct access to the IP and staff stay spaces, and from there, they will be able to access all the therapies. To solve the problem of rainwater runoff, I have provided water bodies so that they get collected in it. There is also hydrotherapy, and since this requires services, it is zoned closer to the service entry or exit. Recreational therapies has been zoned behind so that they are free from OP traffic. The space behind is completely dedicated to the wilderness therapy, and this makes best use of the beautiful views. Auditorium has also been zoned where supporting peers come to help overcome the addiction. So a separate parking for this has been provided right in the front so they do not disturb the OP program. And this will help you get a clear picture of my conceptual zoning. So as one enters, he or she will be welcomed by a combination of ramps and stairs leading to a double height space, and this being a drop-off zone, after this one can either go to the dining and IP stay space or can have an option of going to the parking. There's also second parking which leads to the exit. From the entry there is direct access to the auditorium for the support groups which can exit through the service entry or exit. There is also a possibility of going to the parking and then the exit. The main natural element of the site, the contour, has been utilized to its fullest, which resulted at approach level, level below and the level above. These has its own level differences, making each space speak on its own. The lighter colors here depicts the levels in which one approaches, and the darker colors indicate a level difference of 2 meters below the approach level. This was decided since the contours are at a difference of 2 meters, and this decision supports minimal excavation. So the levels keep decreasing since the slope of the site is in this direction. This indicates the location of stairs and ramps that support mobility along with the level difference. Each space has its own therapies designed along with them. For instance, a kids' care is cognitive behavioral therapy, space dedicated to yoga. Auditorium supports group and recreational therapy. Swimming pool inhibits hydrotherapy with therapeutic sauna, space dedicated to recreational therapy. Dining supports group and speech therapy. Wilderness therapy will help one experience all these at outdoor space. When one enters the double-height space, he or she can either enter the OP, where registration, administration, and consultation takes place, along with the pharmacy which supplies drugs for treatment. Next, the kids' care, which plays with the levels including learning along with the play area. This has views all around, making kids enthusiastic. The level above has parenting education. The kids' care has direct access to the outdoor from the indoor play area. A central space has access to the OP consultation and outdoor by means of ramps and stairs. Coming to the auditorium, as one enters as a lobby and reception, as they move further, there are seats from where they could view the stage below. By means of stairs and lifts, one could reach a level below with toilets and seating space along with the stage. From there, one could access to the exterior space which connects with a ramp from the central space, also has an access to OP. There is a ramp to the right of the auditorium which leads to the hydrotherapy, yoga and recreational therapy. From this OP, there is direct access to the yoga, completely surrounded by natural views, and this overlooks the water body. Yoga could also be accessed by the inpatient through the interconnecting bridge. Hydrotherapy has toilets and services along with the play of levels inside. This deck gives complete view of the Kateri waterfalls and also overlooks the wilderness therapy. The level above has therapeutic sauna which treats using hot water. Now this ramp leads to the central court which then splits into recreational therapy and yoga. Recreational therapy is a mix of therapies along with the play of levels. It's monitored by nursing stations, and therapies of speech, language and group are provided in bound spaces, whereas library is open to all who enters the space. The level below and above could be accessed by means of stairs and lifts. This space also has a bridge connecting to the IP, which means it is 2 meters below the level of the bridge connecting yoga and IP. For the IP stage space is approaching level with reception and has a ramp that leads to the space above, monitored by nursing station. Also has a pattern for circulation which enhances the brain activity. This space consists of therapies and toilets which then leads to the space below. This is the entry for the staff stay space along with the toilets. Now there is a level below which can be accessed by means of stairs and ramps leading to the deck as a viewpoint to the next IP stay space. This ramp leads to the dining which has a combination of both indoor and outdoor seating space. There is a service entry behind with service lift for the dining above. This overlooks the OAT which can be accessed from the start of the ramp. There is also a community kitchen encouraging group therapy. These are the views of the central double height space, and these are those of the learning and play spaces of kids care. The level above has differences in terms of activities. These highlight the views of the library and learning space, of parenting education, the interlinking space between two IP, and then the OP consultation, and finally yoga. Auditorium makes complete use of the contour with minimal cut and fill process. It is rotatable wooden louvers along the inner side of the glass panel which allows sunlight and ventilation when needed. Since the therapeutic sauna uses hot water for treatment, this space is cladded with wood in the exterior, maintaining the inner temperature. It also has a green roof which provides cooler indoor environment. The dining area makes use of all the beautiful views surrounding it. The level below the OP has been mainly used for labs which do not require the rays of the natural light. This is a complete side section which shows the level difference starting from the road abutting the side to the end of the wilderness therapy. These are the views of the outpatient and security. Spaces for each patient are designed in such a way that each of them have privacy by means of partition screens, encouraging them to socialize in the stay spaces. These are not completely dorm kind but has a partial privacy as well as interaction happening. Each of them have a direct view towards the nature from their bed space. The spaces are designed focusing on the concepts of privacy, community, reflection, comfort and tranquility and a sense of home. The landscape plan completely focuses outside the built environment on wilderness therapy, OAT, community kitchen, landscape mound, bridge, and the water body. This is a detailed study of the types of the roof and its shape based on the location as well as considering the most prevailing northeast winds. So finally, I am revisiting my design decisions of small and intimate spaces that are easily understood, opportunities for smaller gatherings of people and space, incorporating tactile sensory elements, create stabilization and harmony, maintain private spaces for residents that aren't isolating, safety and security, patience, reflection, and personalization. Thank you. Presenting to you the thesis entitled Rethinking of Behavioral De-Addiction Center, a center dedicated to the recovery of modern-day epidemic. The site for the proposed is at Coonoor, 10 kilometers away from the main city of Coonoor, located near the vicinity of Kateri waterfalls. It is approximately a total area of 20,234 square meters. The proposal is a direct solution to the behavioral addictions of Generation Z. This is the central double-height space welcoming one approaching the center by means of ramps and stairs. From the central court, one can either enter the OP or the kids' care along with the parenting education in the level above. This series of ramps and stairs leads to the therapy spaces behind. The OP space takes care of registration, administration, and consultation along with pharmacy. This is the waiting lobby for the parents, and this space takes care of the learning along with play spaces for the kids. Auditorium, making complete use of the contour and encouraging group and recreational therapy, have options of using either of the two types of seating spaces. This has rotatable wooden louvers along the inner side of the glass panel, allowing sunlight and ventilation when needed. Hydrotherapy makes use of cool water, and therapeutic sauna at the level above makes use of hot water for treatment. Natural views are presented to the one who uses the space. The space dedicated to recreational therapy combines the therapies of group, family, and physical, combining the concepts of bound and unbound space. The yoga, often considered as a natural form of medicine, is seen quiet and visually linked with nature. The IP stay spaces are combined with the therapies of group and family, providing captivating spaces helping in self-identification and self-awareness. Spaces for each patient are designed in such a way that each of them have privacy by means of partition screens encouraging socialization. Each of them have a direct view towards nature from their bed space. Rotatable wooden louvers help in regulating airflow and light penetration. These fenestrations act as an aesthetic stimulus defining the flow of internal space. Dining combined with community kitchen inspires group therapy promoting positive upshot. Water body provided as a solution to the surface runoff, also as an aesthetic impulse. Nature's restorative capacity has been harnessed by providing outdoor therapy spaces, cheering up physiological and psychological benefits. This wilderness camp provides mental health treatment by kinetically engaging patients on cognitive, affective, and behavioral levels. Natural light and breeze are closely integrated in this design. The open, simple structure allows naturally cool air to move through the space without being obstructed. This design has a sense of sustainability and surprise that keeps the building alive. My heart goes out to thank our respected director Dr. Champa and my thesis coordinator and guide architect Dinesh Raja for their support throughout my thesis. Thank you.